I honestly don't know how I feel about Looks Like Christmas. This is, of course, the 2016 Hallmark film directed by Terry Ingram, written by Mark Amato, and the cast is pretty great. We have Anne, I'm going to mispronounce, I'm so bad at names, um, Heche, feel free to correct me, as our protagonist Carol, and Dylan Neal plays Terry. I love Dylan Neal, I think he's fantastic. And Sean Michael Kyer plays Bryan. He's actually one of my favorite Hallmark actors as well. I've seen a few of his Hallmark films, really enjoy his performance every time. And I will say the acting is very good in this. The narrative is interesting enough, if a bit repetitive, but I feel like the character writing for Carol is not that great. Well acted with the material provided, but I have issues with the way she constantly goes back and forth with her attitude. I will read the description from IMDb, but then I'll talk a little bit around that because it doesn't really explain it very well. But there will not be any spoilers. So this description says, two single parents battle for control of the Christmas holiday at the middle school where their children attend and learn a lesson about the meaning of Christmas. So we have two parents with two very different parenting styles. Carol is the mother of Christmas. She loves Christmas. She goes all out. Every year she plans the Christmas show at the school. She's on the PTA. But Terry, who has just moved to the area, and his daughter Amelia has just started the school, has decided that he wants to be more involved in his daughter's life, so he joins the PTA, and he has some very opposing ideas about what the Christmas show should be like. And the other parents and teachers love his ideas. Carol, who has been doing this basically on her own for years, does not agree and is not a fan of somebody coming in and stealing her thunder and stepping on her toes. But obviously this is a Christmas rom-com from Hallmark, so while they do not get off to the best of starts, there is always the hint that there may be some underlying feelings that heightens that animosity. Kind of like childhood bullying, where the boy who fancies you pulls your pigtails. Will they be together? Will they resolve their differences? You'll have to watch the film and find out. Is it worth watching? Yes, it's a one-time film, but this is not one of those films that I will probably ever seek out again. It was a little bit annoying, to be perfectly honest, because it was very repetitive. The same issues kept coming up time and time again. And Carol, I just did not like as a character. I thought she wasn't very well written. Her attitudes were not very believable some of the time. Not all of the time. But one minute she was apologising, the next minute she was at Terry's throat, back and forth. And you may argue that, well, as humans, we do have conflicting emotions and we do kind of roller coaster. But I feel like this was a step too far to make it believable and enjoyable. I do think Bryan, Carol's son, and Amelia, Terry's daughter, made it bearable. They made it watchable. And on the one hand, that's kind of their point. They are the children who try and bring the two parents together rather than letting them fight. So they definitely drove it forward. But at the same time, I feel like they were actually a lot more interesting than Carol and Terry. It's an interesting enough concept, nothing unique, pretty stereotypical Hallmark setup. I didn't mind watching it. I'm happy enough to recommend it, but it definitely wouldn't be in my top 20, maybe even my top 50 Hallmark Christmas film recommendations. It was fine. It could have been better.